I have to say, with this scene I'm starting on, barring the lens flare, I don't actually mind the visual effects they added to the sunrise and sunset, like on the trees here and whatnot. It does make those times of day look pretty cool. So, this is what I wanted to do for the elevator. It's just a very simple well. I used a chain because you can place chains. They're like ropes. They just look different and they're more expensive. I think they're purely for decoration. I think that's a neat idea. And I moved the pylon on top of it. It just seemed like it fit there. Nothing too crazy. I didn't say it out loud, but the reason I didn't make the obsidian armor is because I didn't have enough tissue samples left over. But now I've killed the Brain of Cthulhu off camera and I should have enough. So it's time to finally get that set. Increased whip range and speed, and increased summon damage. It only has +1 max minion, so this set focuses on the whip itself. And honestly, this is a pretty strong whip, so I think that makes sense. So I will perhaps bench the B armor for now. And I think I just go down into hell, and that's all. It's worth noting that this idea of the well to hell is actually a Toho project reference. One of the only Toho games I know well enough. Oh yeah, there's another thing I did off camera. I did decide to make some underground houses in a different spot. Just because some more NPCs are going to show up later. And the clothier just sells vanity items and materials to make more vanity items. Fun fact, these threads used to be dyes. So you would need a specific type of dye to make specific clothing. But then they added cosmetic dyes as a general item, so they changed this to thread so that it's not confusing. Hey, I'll place the cavern pylon in here. And yes, I could just have a pylon very close to hell. In fact, on the Zenith Seed, I got an Underworld pylon, and I wonder if that's a thing in general. Maybe it is. So I guess I could do that. Oh, really? Huh. I guess I don't know enough about how water and fall damage interact. If I dismount, will I be fine? That's kind of funny. Although now I'm gonna have to refresh my buffs. Do I want sentries? I guess I do. I went out of my way to fight the old one's army. I might as well. I don't have much to say off topic. I was trying to play Sectoria again, and the highest difficulty makes me feel woefully inept. That's how bad it is right now. Okay, so I can still have 4 imps. I just didn't click the bewitching table. So I think this armor set's totally worth it. It's a fair trade-off. So let's see, if I use this mount and I say dismount now, will the water break my fall? Yeah. Okay. That's a new lesson learned. So I still have the shadow key. I want some more hellstone just for the pickaxe. And that's basically the gist of it. I'm also looking for a rare enemy down here. Maybe 2 rare enemies, actually, so I'll keep an eye on that. I don't know how much excess obsidian I have exactly, but I would like to make obsidian platforms because the lava from lava slimes can destroy wooden platforms, but not obsidian ones. I think there were other platforms that are also immune to lava, but I typically just end up mining a bunch of obsidian brick, turning it into platforms. About the topics I discussed in the previous video, a specific point I wanted to make about Ultra Kill is that the way the game is balanced in terms of punishment. I think there's no such thing as long-term consequences for mistakes. I think your mistakes only really matter in the span of 5 to 10 seconds, maybe. Which, maybe people don't see an issue with that, but I like when games want you to consistently play well. Not just to play well enough to get by. Because then, getting by doesn't mean much. You could play incredibly sloppily and still be fine, because you can recover so quickly. I guess it's just a preference of mine. Maybe it's because I like arcade games so much, so the idea of saving up lives by playing really well in the early game is very appealing to me. And it means you spend more time... I think I've made this point before in another playthrough, but you spend more time on the parts of the game you're actually struggling with. And you get more attempts at those parts. I'm not saying anything about the items I'm picking up here, but life force potions are kind of annoying to farm, so it's nice that you can get some from shadow chests. The Sun Fury is... this is just a type of weapon, the flail. It's just like the flail I used in the early game. But it sets enemies... well, actually that one set enemies on fire as well, so it doesn't really matter. Bigger numbers. There's one accessory I'm considering if I'm gonna use mostly a whip. Let me see, I could use obsidian skin and the life force. I'll just leave them in here for the time being. Tungsten bullets are pretty useless. I think you can craft them, or maybe they're sold under specific circumstances. I'm not sure if restoration potions are better than the current healing potions I have. They might be. 10 less healing with a shorter cooldown. Did they change them? I remember them being terrible and I never bothered using them. I'm not sure if the quick heal hotkey will prioritize them or not, even if I... because I think the quick heal uses whatever heals you for the most. No, for the time being, I'm just going to remove the healing potions from my inventory. I'm curious. Yeah, speaking of Ultra Kill, apparently it got an update, and they tried to improve the performance, which is great because... how far did I get? Oh, I forget. Actually, I know what I can say. I was experiencing performance issues up until Claire de Lune, and I thought that was ridiculous. So hopefully it's much better now. I'm still curious what the hell's going on in the newest layer that would require all of this. All of these serious technical overhauls. What the hell, I don't need thorns or magic power. Oh. The flame lash is... I'm not sure, actually. Is it better? Am I forgetting something about it? Oh yeah, I think each projectile can hit multiple times, is that right? Whereas I'm pretty sure the magic missile dissipates after one hit. Yeah, that's the point of difference. I guess. There's no reason not to use magic weapons if they happen to be good. I'm not sure though, maybe I would prefer a bow since there's a buff that buffs bows, I'm pretty sure. Archery potions, yeah, I've seen it before. And oh yeah, shadow chests contain meteorite bars, so... You could ignore meteorite, because if you don't need it in the moment, but you want it later, for whatever reason, then you don't have to mine meteorite at all. You can just sort of get it from the Underworld. Is that enough? I think I needed 20 bars, so yeah, that's enough. I still want to open up the space down here a little bit more. Maybe this is fine. Perhaps some platforms. Yeah, see, just by mining through these, I have 200 platforms now. So I might just switch to that. This is a little unnecessary, but sometimes I do go out of my way for stuff like this. Although placing platforms with the smart cursor can be kind of awkward. Still haven't gotten used to it even after all this time. It's the Flower of Fire. It has a fairly decent modifier on it, I suppose. Its damage is pretty high. I don't know. What else? I swear I had something written down. This is just some busy work, pretty much. What's in here? Oh yeah, when I was using scarab bombs, which I might not use any more of them because I realized something. Although scarab bombs are nice, in order to get them I need to farm in the underground desert, which is time I could have spent actually mining. If I have a decent pickaxe and the mining set, then do I even need scarab bombs? It's one of those weird things where if your solution to a time-consuming task is time-consuming in and of itself, is it even a solution? Yeah, I want to grab as many of these Underworld critters as I can. Well, maybe. You can fish in lava, that's the point of them. And there are some things I might want to get. I already have a cat chime. I don't really care. The Hellwing bow is kind of nice. I guess a minecart that's immune to lava is kind of cool. Thorns potions are... I'm just trashing stuff at this point because I have 3 platinum coins. I sold the ore from the brain. So that... Oh, why did I do that? I think I left this off so that I can smash the pots. And I do think they can give me good stuff. They have different loot tables from other pots. Maybe it's not worth it. I'm not really sure. I think I should probably stack my items less often. Like I should do it when my inventory's full because that makes the most sense. But old habits die hard. Yeah, that's the other thing about those enemies. Or this whip, I mean. And why it's good against those enemies. It has less damage fall off when you're hitting multiple targets. Go pick up all the paintings. I think at this point I'm wondering where to place them, but I will be making more houses, so might as well. Just thinking, how much space do I really need to clear out down here? Will be a problem if it's not enough, but maybe I could just be smart about it and have a good enough setup that basically there's a boss in the Underworld and I could get walled off and killed if I don't do this prep work. Some people bulldoze the entire Underworld and just make a flat platform across it. That not only does that make the fight less interesting and exactly the same on every world, which is part of my problem with optimized boss strats. It's like, what's the point of procedural generation if you're just going to replace that generation with the same optimized arenas every time? Oh, I forgot about my void bag, that's right. I don't have to worry about my inventory in the first place. Why did I do that again? Oh well. I really am just trying to fulfill an achievement over the course of this playthrough. That's what some of the miscellaneous things I'm gathering are for. The more I think about fishing in lava, yeah, there's one nice thing there, but I don't have to care about it, and I already used the alternative method to get down here quickly anyway. So, like, this would be a big problem during the boss fight, for example. Unfortunately, I haven't even found the means to fight the boss yet. That's part of the reason I'm exploring, because it gives time for that to show up. I've pretty much found all the loot that I care about in the shadow chests. Yeah. Oh, Inferno potions are kind of funny. I could maybe use them. And I have more than enough shadow chests for the storage I prefer to do, so I'll head back. I'll stash all this stuff. And then I'll try to actually force the boss fight, hopefully. I guess a feather fall could be useful. I can buy as much dynamite as I want. I don't think I have a place for this painting, so I'll think about that later. I will place one of each of these in here, just in case. I'm gonna keep that on me. Could also craft as many obsidian doors as I want, so it's no big deal. Oh yeah, I found multiples of those. Okay, okay. Right, this is where I decided to put furniture. It's nice that I got 2 hot dogs. There are a lot of random drops in different biomes of buff items. And some of them give you the best food buff, so if I'm gonna do a boss fight, I'd rather not use my 1 golden delight. I'd rather use one of these. They're pretty disposable anyway. Whenever I tried to farm before, I will store the magic missile because it has an upgrade. Even though I'm not sure if that's the best of ideas. Right, a shadow chest mimic. As a pet. Do I want that? Maybe. Sure. I got into the habit of changing my pet whenever I find a new one. And speaking of changing cosmetics, I think the old companion locket is my favorite sound for taking damage. If I remember correctly, anyway. Well, I'm gonna need to get rid of my imps for a second. Yep. It's a nice sound. I think it's very distinct. Maybe because the game has pixel art like this, it seems appropriate to me. Okay. I'll place more shadow chests than I'll ever need. Sell all of this because it's in excess. Maybe off camera I'll find a place for those. I'm not sure. There are actually quite a lot of paintings in the game. Collecting them all would be maybe a bit of a chore. Buffs. I should maybe make buffs, because at this point I have so many herbs. And yeah, because of the imps, at least I have it on camera that that's how this event works. This is all quite the distraction, though. I think I'm kind of worried about the last boss fight of this part of the game. Because on Master, I was just barely losing. It's one of those things where it's purely a statistical loss. It's not like I don't understand what I'm doing. Quite the opposite, actually. Okay. I think these most basic of buffs, I can just have a stack of each. But I don't know how much the maximum stack size is, but like 30 is plenty. Then, well, there is one buff that I could have farmed off camera through fishing, but I did not, so I guess I'll make do without it. I think I left Featherfall in this chest. Or not. In my piggy bank? Yes. That can be helpful. I will try a Life Force, an Inferno, and Heart Reach, because I am aware that this boss drops a lot of heart pickups, and this gives you a huge circular range to pick those up, which can make the difference. I made some flasks of poison. I don't have another source of poison, so I might as well. I forgot to check the traveling merchant. It was very silly of me. Oh well. Sure, he'll show up plenty of times. The bass statue and the heart lanterns don't really matter in this fight. The hot dogs, sure. Oh yeah, the pickaxe. Might as well do that before I forget. I do think the molten pickaxe is a necessary part of progression. Am I forgetting something? For some reason it feels like I am, but I don't know why. Since I'm using the whip set, I guess I'll try to stay close to the boss and see how that goes for me. Maybe it's a bad idea. I wouldn't be so worried if I haven't consistently died on Master Mode against this boss. Well, okay. Yeah, I think that's everything. And I think I can equip the Squire Shield for the extra summon damage, and if I remember correctly, I should do this. I have a lot of platinum, so... Where did I leave the goblin again? Right. Maybe I can upgrade some things like the whip. Demonic. I think demonic's fine. Although, wait, even whips don't have crit chance? Never thought too much about that. I just struggled to remember all of the modifiers off the top of my head. Although it's quite obvious which ones are bad. Massive might have been something. Wow, Goblin, you really want to rob me on camera? I think I should have just picked... Let me see. Is there a noticeable difference in size with Massive? Maybe. Okay, I'll stick with that. Maybe I'm more interested in some extra defense points, though. Nope, that's not... There it is. Yep, that's wording, that's wording, that's wording, that's wording. And I don't think I'll be upgrading my boots again, so I might as well blow some money on this, and it's wording as well. Okay, there's a lot of tedious work like that on Master Mode. It's part of the reason I don't recommend it. And it's baffling to me. When I was criticizing Master Mode, just talking to some people online, I think it was Discord, they presented the point of, oh, it's for people who enjoy min-maxing, and I'm like, wait, you're saying that backwards. The way it is, only people who enjoy min-maxing can like it. Are you trying to reverse the point to act like, actually it's fine? It's not fine. It's lame as hell. Anyway, I think it'll be funny to leave the tombstone in there. I think I'm just going to set up a platform here and try to... Oh, well, I did unequip the shield, to be fair. I'm curious about something. If I were to drink an obsidian skin, does this still hurt me? It doesn't. Okay, so I'd rather have my extra summon damage in that case. It wouldn't make sense to be immune to lava from the effect, but not to hot stone, you know? And for the first time, I will be using a water candle and a battle potion. Because unfortunately, summoning this boss relies on a rare enemy spawn. So this is... Oftentimes, just exploring the Underworld, you'll find more than enough of the enemy in question, but I was not so lucky. Oh, there it is. It's just a demon that carries a voodoo doll. You can right-click the candle to disable it, and right-click any buff to cancel it. So I guess I'll give it a try, and if it doesn't work, I'll go back to the drawing board and try to see what went wrong. However, I won't just start the boss fight here. I think I want to start it over here, and that should give me plenty of time. Oh, there's another voodoo demon. I might as well get 2 voodoo dolls. I find this... Someone once pointed out something about this part of the game. In order to progress to the rest of the game, you need to sacrifice the guide, the tutorial NPC. Which Maybe they're reading too deeply into it, but I do think that's cool. You don't need help anymore, because from this point on, you'll be on your own. And he should have taught you more than enough. And you should have gotten better by now. I don't know, I just think it's a neat thought, at least. This might be kind of a problem. Maybe I can mine all of it out. Alright, I have obsidian skin. I don't need to worry about the lava. Worst case scenario, this goes so poorly that it'll take me one more part to get into the next part of the game. I think this should be fine. Now I'm venturing beyond where I was before. So essentially, how much space there is in the Underworld horizontally is of vital concern. Because in order to summon this boss, I need to toss a guide voodoo doll into the lava, thus killing the guide in a ritualistic sacrifice, I think, in order to summon the Wall of Flesh. This might be one of my favorite bosses in the game, just because it actually takes advantage of world generation. Uh-oh. What happened to the water walking? Oh, it's not even in my inventory. That's what happened. This is a little scuffed already. I didn't take the water walking potions out of the chest. Okay, fine, I'll work around it. I like to just open up the Underworld a little bit and navigate the terrain as is for the most part, only making necessary changes. Like here I would have to mine through this in real time if I hadn't prepped ahead of time. Expert mode change. These tentacles coming off the wall will regenerate, but they drop hearts when you kill them, so silver linings. And that's also the reason for the heart reach potion. When you see those 2 rows of buffs under my hotbar, doesn't that just remind you of every MMO and every RPG you've ever seen? It's just like Path of Exile, where you have so many passive effects with a developed build. Yeah, this ring of fire around me should help. I'm not entirely sure if it's doing much to the tentacles are called the Hungry. The wall will force you forward if that happens. It's not instant death, but it does a lot of damage, so it's not exactly great. Uh-oh. Ah, that was so close. Featherfall is nice for me to slowly descend and cross large gaps and dodge the lasers, but, damn it. It's also kind of annoying because I can't try again until another guide arrives. Well, whatever, I have another set of buffs. I just need to not run into the wall itself. And I'll be fine. I think no further optimizations are necessary. Oh yeah, there's obsidian brick in one of the chests, that's why I can keep going. Yeah, that fight can actually be quite fun. Although I think the fact that it takes advantage of the Underworld generation is both a good thing and a bad thing. Because sometimes the fight is just harder, but also it means that the fight is a little bit different, and it holds up to more scrutiny across multiple playthroughs. There he is. And here we go. It's funny, I dug that whole tunnel and now I'm just teleporting here. Feels like a waste of effort. Oh yeah, the imbuement buffs are one of the only things in the game that, one of the only buffs in the game that persist across death. Because I assume the other buffs are active on your character's body. Okay, I need to... Another obsidian skin would be nice. Whereas this buff is the weapon itself being covered in poison. So I guess the weapon isn't affected by your death, would be my... That would be my guess. Oh, but I was dumb enough to forget some of my buffs. Okay. It's a little annoying that I have to go through the motions of clicking each of those stations every time I die, but at least I have potions of return. So it won't be too much of a waste. Longer lasting buffs. It's pointless, but I'll click the war table. And most importantly, the bewitching table. And back here. Okay, I have water walking potions on me, so I can focus a bit more. I already got into the mindset of I can walk on lava, which is why I got tripped up the first time. So, take 2. This whip is really good at taking care of the hungry, and that's great. Although I kind of have to stay on top of it, because they respawn, but I think it's fine. Obviously, if you were using a ranged weapon, you can just completely ignore the hungry as part of this fight. I did notice the knockback being a bit of a problem on the previous attempt, since I'm not wearing the obsidian shield, so I'm not immune to knockback. It's worth noting the less life the Wall of Flesh has, the more damage it does, or at least the hungry do. Maybe contact with the wall also increases, I'm not entirely sure. Maybe it's just the hungry, actually. I think that's what it was. And that's also an expert mode change. There's a specific accessory I could be using instead of the shield, which would benefit my whip more. I'm considering that now. Hopefully I won't lose this time, so it won't matter. I forget to summon one of my imps, because that would be very silly. The knockback. The knockback stopped me from going through the door, but that was good enough. Okay. That could have gone a little better. Maybe I'm forgetting something. And now, the ancient spirits of light and dark have been released. We are officially in what the community calls hard mode. In my head, I want to say it's like a second loop, where I'm going to revisit most of the game again, but now it's harder. It's not a perfect analogy, because it's It's very different from arcade game looping, but hey, that's what I'm fond of, and I can't help but make the comparison. So about the loot. I get a bone hammer because Realogic needs to keep all references to outdated lingo in the game. On expert mode, you get a demon heart, which gives you an extra accessory slot, which I am just going to fill up with more damage in the form of this summoner emblem. There's an emblem for each of the 4 damage types. I think I'll check in with the traveling merchant right now. I'll place the wall of flesh relic right here. Leave most of my buffs back in here. I probably won't need water walking potions again. I think the restoration potions are fine, but once I get the better potions later in the game. This is an obvious Cloud Strife reference, this sword. Legally distinct name, Breaker Blade. It's an okay melee weapon, actually, but I won't be using it. And it's functionally the same as all the broadswords, which, yeah, much like the enemy design, if I don't say anything unique about it, then it's because it's the same. Oh, you ran off over here. Maybe this is a little distracting. Inferno. Yeah. I think it was helping a little bit, for what it's worth. Oh, yeah. When the guide has a specific name, he'll drop a green cap upon death. And what was that name? Oh, it's Andrew. So if this Andrew were to die as well, I think he would also drop that hat. I guess I can equip it. Whatever vanity items I happen to find. What do you got for me? Mostly cosmetic stuff. I am actually looking for cosmetics. Maybe I would wear like this if my character was female. But there's a specific cosmetic I like, but more importantly, some practically useful items would be nice. Okay. There's some errands to run in regards to the second half of the game. First of all, this happens. I guess that's where it went, huh? Well, that's fine. There's now a new biome in the form of the Hallow. Wherever you kill the wall of flesh, Hallow and corruption will spread from there. And yeah, it corrupted my housing in the snow biome, which is exactly what happened in my mage playthrough. So I'm gonna need some more housing. Damn, that's annoying. I could try to do something about it, but I don't really have an easy means of... Okay. There is one idea, which is go to the Dryad. The jungle is incredibly deadly right now, so I'm going to ignore it largely. Want some hallowed seeds. And I'll have to ask the guide because I can't remember off the top of my head. It was pixie dust and bottled water. So I'm gonna do that because I just want to get my houses back in the blasted snow biome. But honestly, I'm getting ahead of myself. There is one main order of business for a summoner right now, which is to get better equipment. Yes, this is fine. This is fine. The imps are doing good enough work. Of which I need one more. Maybe if I summoned all my imps... Did I have all my imps out during the first attempt? I think I did. But it would be funny if I lost against the wall of flesh because I forgot to summon one of my imps. Now, where the hell was... Right, it was up here. So from this particular pylon, I can reach one of the spider nests, and I'm going to do a little bit of farming right here. Now there are bigger bats with more stats, new enemies in the form of, say, this skeleton archer. That's what hard mode does. It just adds a bunch of new enemies all over the world. Allows you to access new bosses, new loot. And maybe I wouldn't mind that if it were a bit more interesting, but most people are of the opinion that hard mode is kind of boring because it's mostly just farming and prepping for the next boss fight, and then you kill the boss and you can move on to the next prep phase for the next boss, and that is kind of how it plays out after a while. Oh, a Medusa. You can look away from her to avoid getting petrified. If you're petrified in midair, your fall damage scales super fast. Let's say you fall just 10 tiles. You'll die because you just shatter. It's kind of cool, actually. I don't mind that. But this interpretation of Medusa is pretty standard fare. Oh, I think my imps are unable to hit her underwater. And my whip is struggling as well for some reason. Something to do with how hit detection on a whip works. Oh, a mimic. I guess you can say that pet I found is foreshadowing. I do want to kill a few of these. I'm not sure how many of their items are that important for me, as a summoner specifically. But yeah, they do pretend to be chests until they take damage or you get too close. That could be relevant. Melee knockback, size of melee weapons. I seem to remember that the gloves worked on whips as well. I'll have to try that if I want to focus on the whip itself and not the summons. So, I forget if I showed the spiders that appear here in pre-hard mode, as they call it. Which are these, the wall creepers. But in hard mode, there are the black recluses, which drop spider fangs, which make a summon set. Only problem is I don't know where exactly they're spawning in the areas around the spider nest. I think I need to keep part of it off screen for them to spawn in there. So just bear with me. It'll be a little bit more farming. I'm gonna leave this Crimson Altar here, just in case. Right, a water candle, a battle potion. It's kind of dangerous at the start of hard mode to go this hard on spawn rates, but I just want to get this over with quickly. I could throw these out, I guess. I'm not sure how much they're gonna do to enemies with such high stats. Each of these has 1,000 life. God. Yeah, what I was saying about how in more tactical, specifically turn-based RPGs, increasing stats can be kind of interesting, but I really don't think that's the case in Terraria. I just spend more time to be able to do the same combat at approximately the same pace. That's all that ends up happening. And I think the most extreme examples are in hard mode, where enemies get way stronger. Ah, yeah, the imps can't do a thing because of the water. Maybe I can do this. Oh yeah, black recluses also have a ranged attack that immobilizes you. No, I'd have to drain the water down there, maybe. I'm pretty sure that enemies deal particularly ridiculous damage on contact on Master Mode. This is what I mean, that even though the mini biome where these enemies spawn is this back wall over here with the cobwebs, they can actually spawn anywhere as long as you have enough of that area on screen. Which is a little awkward. But there are also a whole lot of them in here. Oh damn, this is ridiculous. It's becoming slower now because I can't afford to go in there at all and my imps are not doing a thing. Maybe if I... Oh yeah, they can still get me. $34 fangs. Seem to remember 50-something being enough. It's not the kind of detail I commit to memory generally. Imps, please. You gotta be able to do something. This is one of the most unfortunate setups for these summons. Technically, optimizing luck would help me here, but... might as well. But I'm not sure... Like, the drop rate of this material is not the problem anyway. So it's probably not worth it. I would be very happy about a poison staff if I were a mage, but then again, maybe I can make use of it anyway. Quick. Or taboo. Taboo, I suppose. Poison staff pierces and, well, poisons, obviously. It's okay. But it really eats through my mana. Perhaps it doesn't make the most sense. Soon enough I'll find weapons that can, oh, godly. Okay, 3 poison staffs. Again, when I was playing mage, I was struggling to get one. Why? Are you mocking me, game? It is what it is. I won't need the magic quiver, although it would be great if you were a ranger and you were using a bow. The flame lash, I'll sell it. Most of the stuff I've kept, it just doesn't make sense to keep it, really. But here's a very good question. Can I actually make this set, or do I need a better crafting station, because it escapes me? Yes, I need a mithril anvil, so my priorities were absolutely messed up. But yeah, it's this spider gear, which has decent minion slots, even more summon damage. And I have a new sentry and a new summon that I can make out of it. And if this is not enough, I will... I'll do the rest of that farming off camera. You get the gist. That's how you get that set. But unfortunately, all of this took way longer than I thought it would, so I won't really do much off-camera work. And I won't even show you what I was going to do with these hallowed seats just yet. So I'll resume pretty much exactly from this point next time. Thank you for watching.